Well, good morning, everyone. We're back here at Andersen Acres in the kitchen, and today we are going to make slashed dinner rolls. This is actually really easy to do, and they look really cool, and company will be quite impressed with your handiwork. So you start with just your basic dough. I'm using just a white dough, white bread dough. You can use whole wheat or rye or any other bread dough you've got. The dough I'm using is one I've used before. You'll find it in a lot of the recipes on my channel. If you need to know the recipe, it'll pop up on your screen. If you need to know exactly how to make bread dough, there will be a link in the description to my video on actually making the bread dough. You can either use your bread maker to make the dough, or you can do it by hand. This one I did by hand, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to make 12 dinner rolls. So take our dough. First, we're going to divide it in half. You want to divide this actually into 6. So you're going to take your halves, make little logs out of them. So we're going to divide it into 6 because cutting it is going to be part of our shaping process. So then we're just going to cut this into 3 and this one into 3. Okay, now take each one, shape it into a ball. You want to make sure they're as smooth as you can manage. Nice, tight, and smooth. Kind of give them a nice roll. Okay. Do this fairly quickly. This is not that difficult. Nice. You give them a nice roll so that they smooth out a little bit. If you have an area that's not quite smooth, pinch it back together and then roll it between your palms again. Not difficult. So again, you don't have to go as fast as I'm going. I'm going fast just because I want to get this done. Because I can hear a goat outside. I think she's out of the pen, so I'm going to go make sure she's in the pen as soon as I'm done this. It's not that big a deal. Lily's a good goat. I'm sure you've seen Lily before on video. So we have our 6 little balls of dough. Okay, now what we want to do is take one of our balls of dough, take either a knife, or I just use this because this is what this is for. So you take your little ball of dough. You're not going to squish it. You're not going to do too much. You're going to just roll it so it's actually nice and ball-like. And you're going to slice it right down the middle. Push straight down. Then you're going to take these, and they're kind of oblong now. Don't squish them into a circle. You want to leave them nice and little oblong-y. So tuck the little pointy ends in, because you are going to have a couple of pointy ends. Kind of tuck them in, but otherwise you want to leave them. So again, slice it in half. Kind of pop those little sharp ends in because they will. You notice they're kind of sharp. Kind of tuck them in. And when you have finished dividing all of your buns so that you have 12 little dinner rolls, you want to put them on the pan so they don't touch, because later on you're going to coat them with an egg wash and then you're going to slash them, because these are slashed dinner rolls. So you don't want them to touch. So that's why we're only making 12 on my cookie sheet. And we're not putting them in a cake pan or anything because we don't want them to touch the sides either. Okay. So once you're done, you're going to set these aside in a warm location to rise for about an hour. If you're using whole wheat or a rye dough or something like that that's a little heavier, you may actually have to wait an hour and a half. You just want them to double in size. And you're going to put them somewhere warm and hopefully somewhere a little bit humid. Okay, so in my case, I'm going to use my microwave. I'm not going to cover them because in the microwave they're fine. If you're not using the microwave, cover them with a damp dishcloth. So now we're just going to set those aside to rise for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. We'll come back and see how puffy they've gotten. All right, so our buns have risen. They're going to make perfect dinner rolls, but now we have to coat them. So we want to coat them with an egg. You're going to take your egg. This is just from my chickens. You can get an egg from a store. Smash it up and just kind of beat it with a fork. Just so you have something to brush over your egg. You can do just egg yolk or just egg whitewash. It's not really that big a deal. I use the whole egg because I'm going to be making something else later anyway, so I'm going to want it. So you just whip it around till it looks pretty good. It's really not that big a deal. Set that aside. Get your buns looking good. You're going to take a clean basting brush, dip it in your egg, and you're just going to brush the egg over each and every bun. You don't really want to miss spots. This gives it a nice glaze. It's very, very fun. Need a little more on this one. So you want to get all the good spots. Brush it over the tops and the sides. You don't want to miss. But you also don't want it so gloopy that it drips and puddles on the cookie sheet. So, like that was a little too much in one spot, but that's okay. We'll wipe it up here. There we go. There we are. So you're just going to brush all 12 of them at the same time. And you're also going to want to select your toppings if you want any. You certainly do not have to top them with anything. You can just slash them to make them slash dinner rolls. Remember, that's what we're making. So you can just slash them and bake them. And I will leave about half of them plain, just like this. But you can also top them. I'm going to use sesame seeds and poppy seeds, not together. I'm going to use them separately. But you could also do an everything topping with garlic and dehydrated onion and all that if you like. Think the top of an everything bagel. Or you could simply leave them. It's really personal preference. I sometimes do black sesame seed, but I'm just doing regular sesame seed today. You can toast your sesame seed before you start if you like. I don't, but you can. So last one here. And I'm saving the remainder of my egg because I am making something else today. I have 2 kids who eat bread all the time, so I often eat egg. So the next thing I'm going to do is my topping. So I'm going to do 3 of these sesame seed topping. Just take your sesame seed. Be generous, you know. You want some nice amount of sesame on there. You don't want to skimp. So I'm doing 3 in sesame. I want a little bit more than that. So I take a little bit more. Right? So you don't skimp. If you're going to do sesame, do sesame. Really get it on there. Now I'm also going to do, I only did 3 sesame, you'll notice. I'm leaving these 6 alone. And I'm going to do 3 poppy seed. Because I like poppy seeds. So, 3 poppy seed again. Don't be skimpy. Nice amount of poppy seeds. Yeah, you want to really get it on there. It'll stick fairly well because of the egg. It's okay to spill it. It's just poppy seeds. They're not going to kill anyone. They're delicious. Okay, so now we are making slashed dinner rolls. So now we have to make the slash. It's important that you wait till now to make the slash. If you slash it beforehand, you're not going to get the same effect. So you want to put your egg on, put your topping on, and then slash. So when we slash, I'm using a bread lathe here. You can use a really sharp knife, but it has to be really sharp, and you're not going to cut too deep, no more than 1/4 inch. You just want to go deep enough that it slashes and the bun starts to open up. So, like this. Slash, slash, slash. You notice how I'm going up one side and down the other? That's so that it does open up. And then I always wipe it off with my finger just so I'm not transferring the seed from one to the other. Slash, slash. You'll actually see it a little bit better on the uncoated ones, which is one of the reasons I did this. Okay, so now if you watch these ones, you'll see the slash a lot easier. Okay, slash, because there's no seeds in the way. And you'll notice when it bakes, you will actually have a slightly different color inside the slash and outside the slash. And they'll rise up a little bit in the oven. So there we go. Now I do want to remind you, if you're using a bread lathe, I don't clean mine very often because I usually just use it on regular bread without coatings. But if you're doing an egg coating, you're going to want to clean your bread lathe because you don't want residue from the egg on your bread lathe. So now we're just going to bake these at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes. And I will bring them out and show you as soon as they're cooked. All right, so our buns have just come out of the oven. I will just bring them over so you can take a look. Again, using heat pads so I don't melt my silicone mat. It shouldn't melt, but you never know. So these are what they look like. They're piping hot, so forgive me. You can see they're slashes. They are piping hot, so I have to put them down. And on the poppy seed one, you can see that as well. Ow! And the sesame. Very hot. Now, if I had wanted these slashes to look bigger, I could have cut them deeper. I like to keep mine fairly shallow. So this one's slightly deeper, so you can see a little bit more of that pattern. So the deeper you cut, the wider your slices will be. The smoother the tops of your buns, the cuter they will be. So these ones over here look cuter than like this one kind of bubbled on me. It happens sometimes. But these are great on the dinner table, especially if you do multiple different toppings. You can do everything. You can do sesame, poppy seed, whatever you like. You could coat with honey, whatever you like. It doesn't matter. The effect is still the same. Everybody loves these. You can make smaller ones by cutting your dough into more pieces. Or you can make fewer by cutting them into larger pieces. It's entirely up to you. These do make good burger buns, but only if you make them slightly bigger. These are not really big enough for an actual burger. But that is all for today. That's the slashed dinner roll for you. And if you want to make them, they're pretty easy. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.